like to continue, you can go on. So today it's Saturday. Very nice, bright morning so far, and many things are changing in the world. People trust in the vaccine, some people not trust in the vaccine. So many have taken it because they have to be in work situations, workplaces. Some are refusing to take it out of fear of having blood clots and other problems later in life. And no matter how safe we think we are vulnerable to diseases. There has been many pandemics in the past, like in Europe they had Black Death. Millions of people have died. 1/3 of Europe continent's population has died of this thing called Black Death. One time they were waiting for a ship to arrive at the port, only to be greeted by this thing called Black Death. And then it spread in the port with mice because dead bodies were stored somewhere in the port and mice got into them and started spreading the disease. So they had it in Asia, China. No, China is part of Asia, and in Africa and Europe. So this pandemic that we are dealing with now, that we are still mindful of to avoid getting in contact with, is also rising and falling, having its own patterns and life, and people have not yet studied the power of it. So medications are not available except the vaccinations, and people have fear because there have not been enough studies on this. So leprosy is another disease like that is still prevalent in the world. It was like 2 point something millions cases couple of decades back, but now it is like 200,000, 290,000 cases across the globe. So these things need to be discussed in some ways because we need to be aware of the dangers that we are in and to see that no matter how we escape, we are vulnerable to diseases. And there is news about leprosy recurring in the world and spreading fast, so that people need to be prepared for something like that. So even in the Buddha's time, there has been leprosy, and it has been there even before in the world. There is long history on it. And there was this leper. Sometimes they say calling someone who is suffering from leprosy, a leper is a bad thing because it's derogatory. But this is how the story goes, that there was a man who had leprosy, who was poor, abandoned by many people. He happened to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. When the Buddha gave teachings to a big crowd, he came closer to the teaching place and paid attention to what the Buddha was teaching. And he realized the teachings and became a Sotapanna person. Sotapanna, Sota means the stream, Apanna is someone who has entered the stream. So he's going against the current of the sansara. So he's not getting carried away with the flood. He is going against it, that he is niyato sambodhi parayano, he is certain to attain sambodhi, the awakening, within 7 lifetimes. So this person is still around in Tawatin's world, and this is how the story goes. Upon attaining a Sotapanna stage, he was determined to go see the Buddha in the monastery after the Buddha finished the Dhamma talk and returned to the monastery. So his name, the man who listened to the teachings and who suffered at the time with leprosy, was Suppabuddha. So he's named as Kutti, someone who had leprosy. So he was on his way, and the Sakka, the leader of heavens, stopped this man disguised as a wealthy person. And he said, I'll give you so much wealth, I'll give you so much money if you stop going to see the Buddha. You just stop going to see the Buddha. And this man refused. And the Sakka, the leader of heaven, said, you are so poor. Nobody is there to look after you. You don't have anything in your belongings. There is no use of going to see the Buddha. And Suppabuddha said, don't say that, my friend. Don't say that. I am really wealthy. I am very rich. I have faith in the Buddha, and that is all that matters. I have my virtues, so that is my wealth. I don't break my sila. I don't break my sila for any trivial needs. I have guarded my sila. No matter how sick I was, I never went to steal anything from anybody. I always depended on what was offered to me, and I was happy about it. So he had faith, he had his virtues, he has realized the Dhamma, and he regarded that as his wealth. So he was determined to go see the Buddha and declared his awakening, declared his realization to the stage, the first level of awakening, the Sotapatti. And the Buddha was there in the monastery. Suppabuddha went and declared his attainment, and on his way back, he was killed by a cow. And when this was reported to the Buddha said, he became a leper because he had, spat. He had, he spit, spitting on a spiritual person in a previous lifetime. This spiritual person was not just an ordinary spiritual person. This was a Pacceka Buddha, someone who was a subordinate Buddha. He was awakened and he did not do any teachings. He lived with other monks with his realization. So this is a self-awakened person who is not fully accomplished like Samma Sambuddha, but he is a Pacceka Buddha, someone like a secondary Buddha. So sometimes they are so, I don't know why people, like all these spitting stories are there in the past. Maybe they are so annoying to other people. And when people poke them, they don't react, of course. And maybe this even annoys people even more. So this is Suppabuddha's story, and the Buddha said, he is born in Tawatin's heaven. The reason he was killed by a cow, and it was not that cow that killed, it was a demon, an evil spirit. The cow was possessed by the evil spirit because in the past, when Suppabuddha was a wealthy fellow, he and his friends invited a beautiful young woman to a park and promised to give her a lot of jewels and wealth and slept with her. And then they said, having made use of her, they decided to kill her, saying, there is no use of giving any wealth to you. And this woman, as she was getting killed, she made an oath that she will come life to life, from lifetime to lifetime, and will take revenge from these men. Bahia, Suppabuddha, Pukkusati, and these friends, from lifetime to lifetime, they were killed like that. In the last lifetime, during the time of the Buddha, they were all killed by that Yakini, the evil spirit. So the Buddha, upon knowing these stories about this man, so in Tawatin's heaven, he's still there because, heavenly beings live so long. Caranti bala dummedha. Bala means evil people, foolish people, sorry. Charanti, they dwell in the sansara. Karonti papakam kammam, they do a lot of evil deeds. Amitteneva attana. Amitteneva attana. You become amitta. You don't become a friend to attana, to oneself. So, not becoming a friend to oneself is you doing a lot of evil things to yourself. Yang hoti katukapphalam. Because of doing evil things, you reap with katuka, coarse phala, fruits, lot of coarse fruits. In one lifetime, he was a wealthy person and he killed this woman and had enjoyed his life. But then in another lifetime, he became a person suffering from leprosy and poor and abandoned. And in his last lifetime, he had the fortune to listen to the teachings also because of his past karma. And he had the wisdom to understand it, but he got killed because of his karmic tendencies. The reason he was able to realize the Dhamma is because in a past lifetime, he and his friends climbed up a rock, a mountain, and they kicked off, like they removed the ladder and they strived to attain the awakening during a previous Buddha's time. So they had made this much of effort, although they were not successful. They were born in two of them reached to one of them became an arahant, another became an anagami. They realized the non-returning to the sensual world, and the others were born in heavenly realms. Having been born in heavenly realms, they continued roaming and wandering in samsara until they were born again in the Gautama's time, and this was his understanding. So this is one story, and I will stop with what is happening in the world, that people are paying attention to the royal royals in England. And I would say, please, leave them alone to all these tabloids going after, news channels being interested in their life. They're just trying to have a life, just a normal life. They are normal people. And if, when Prince Siddhartha, when he had a newborn baby and he decided to renounce the world, and if tabloids were after him, we would not have the teachings now. They would go to the palace and interview Yasodhara, and they would take pictures of the Prince Rahula and put on newspaper and on TV channels, and will go to the forest where Prince Siddhartha was trying to focus and meditate and strive and luckily there were no newspapers at the time, so there were people watching what he was doing. Of course, royal messengers went to investigate and brought news back to the palace, but that was it. They wanted to make sure that he was doing fine, he was on his goal, and that he had not steered away, gone crazy, and needed any security and protection. So luckily, it didn't happen that way, and he reached his goal and went back, brought the teachings to the palace. So this is for Prince Harry. This is a time away, and I think he needs to be given his freedom, and Meghan Markle need to be given her freedom, and the little boy Archie need to be given freedom. And people need to mind on their own business, just like do unto oneself what you do to others. I don't know, I may have missed a word in there. So if you have loving kindness to yourself, you don't become an enemy, amitta, to oneself. So you protect others just like you protect oneself. So these are the teachings for this weekend. So be aware of our own karmic tendencies and don't become an enemy to oneself. Become a friend to oneself by removing the evil tendencies and cultivating wholesome tendencies. Any questions before I finish? Any comments? Were you able to follow me?
Oh, yes, Hamadurone, we were listening.
Okay.
And my husband was saying that Archie means, Archie. Archie, he thought Archie, Queen Elizabeth.
You need to do your own readings.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew about it. Sorry, Hamadurone, very interesting, very interesting.
For people who don't know the meaning of Archie, if it is Archie, that means grandmother. So in Sri Lankan culture. So they thought I was talking about Queen Elizabeth. Anyway, happy meditation and take care of yourselves, and happy vaccination if you decide to take it. Taken it already. Many blessings from the Sangha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.